welcome to the Next Fix. We've got this gentleman here, Dave Mahler. You're going to hear it in his voice. He's a New Yorker. He's also he's in the Fellowship of Recovery. He's coaching people, making people better out there. He's got a hell of a story. And like a lot of us do, however, he chose today to come and share it with us. It's going to be a moment of vulnerability for him. And so I applaud Mr. Mahler for showing up today. Dave, I really appreciate you being on the show, brother.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. So I know that, we briefly spoke the other day on the phone, and it's like your story is, it's like, it gets me in the gut, man. It gets me because it's there's a lot of pain in there, and you've come a long way to be able to share it and use it for other people's good. So share with us a little bit about how things look pretty dark for you.
So I'll take you back, not all the way back to the beginning, but my daughter's like 15 years old, and she gets in trouble in high school for just smoking weed. And so my ex-wife is going to punish her at that point. And my daughter marches into the garage, goes right into one of my old golf bags, pulls out a big baggie of weed of mine, and says, "How can you punish me? This is Daddy's." And so pretty much I stopped smoking the weed that day, but I was now on a journey with my daughter. I'm a New York guy. I think I can fix everything. And I'm like, I'm going to fix her. And I'm going to get her right. And I found out pretty quickly I couldn't. I probably took her to 15 to 20 rehabs and made all the mistakes.
So Dave, we skipped over a few parts there. So, she went from smoking weed to being in rehab. You kind of clearly she got into some heavier things. I can't imagine you took her to 15 rehabs over some weed.
No, it progressed. So we'll go back now. So we're in a house where my ex-wife had a drinking problem, and I was the codependent enabler. On the outside, we look like the perfect family. Kids on the school bus early, homework done, playing all kinds of sports. And in the house was turmoil, And I didn't know any better. I was running to the liquor store, buying the bottles of wine and whatever for my ex-wife, trying to keep the peace in the house, trying to keep the neighbors from knowing what was going on in the house, though I don't think it helped that much. We'd show up at family parties, and they got everything together. But by the time the ride home came, it was a dark ride home. Arguing, and screaming, and crying, and it just wasn't a pretty place. And I was no angel in this story, even though for a long time I thought I was. I was smoking my weed. I worked on Wall Street. That's why I'm Ground Zero Recovery is my name of my coaching business. I was in the building for 9/11 when the plane hit, and being on Wall Street, 80s, 90s, did a lot of stuff myself. It just was that time. Anything goes at those times. There was no compliance. You're out all night, back in work the next day, and doing whatever you could to stay up. And I was running just right along with that.
So in my mind, I don't know if you've seen it, but like Wolf of Wall Street, it's a cinematic representation. Have you seen that?
Yeah, sure.
Right. So, in my head, that's what I'm seeing, man. I mean, a bunch of animals.
A lot of those things did happen,
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it's a movie, but a lot of times these representations aren't just pulled out of thin air, man. They're kind of based on some reality. So you're a part of that, right? You're in this.
This is the culture 90s. I was in, right? For sure, 100%, all in. And so, like I said, my daughter gets in trouble with my fast forwarding, and then it just started progressing. I grew up in Brooklyn. I raised my children there for the early part of their life. And I'm like, okay, we're going to move to the suburbs and everything is going to be fine. But the problem in the suburbs is it's quiet. Kids got a few dollars in their pocket, and they're going to house parties instead of being on the street. And they're going through the medicine cabinets. they're finding out, grandma's prescriptions, mom's prescriptions, and they're sharing all the things. And,
What year is this? What year is this, Dave?
Late 90s.
Late 90s.
Late 90s. And they're having these parties, and I was blind to it. I could have done a better job as a parent. She stayed home a lot, but when she wasn't home, she was at a friend's house. They were partying, and they were partying in people's houses. So it wasn't like they were coming home. They'd sleep over. They'd come home the next morning. You think everything was fine. But then she came to me, thank God, and told me I have a problem. I'm using. And, I was definitely her rock. And she's like, what are we going to do? And I took her to counseling. I took her to local rehabs, inpatient, outpatient. That didn't work. Right. And then we make a decision, which was a wrong decision, to send it to a rehab in South Florida. It was like Delray. It was like the capital of the world to go to. But it was too extreme of a program for her. It was more of a place for people that had their stuff together a little bit already, not for somebody who was new to treatment. So it was too free. It was like, it wasn't a level of care she should have been at. Mm-hmm. But we didn't know. We were looking for help, They sent a plane ticket for her. We sent her thinking she was going to get help. She ended up getting worse.
Did she stay in Florida? Like did she bail on the program?
She stayed in Delray, Boca, Palm Beach counties for probably 7 years, 8 years, bouncing from in and out of rehabs, halfway houses, all those kind of things.
Yeah, so that's so hard because you mentioned like the level of care, and there's so many different players or different participants. Like I had mentioned, like you're part of the recovery team. You're a coach. I'm a coach. I'm not a therapist, and so there's sometimes this disconnect, and it's hard because like there's people that will reach out to me. I'm sure they reach out to you as well, and they think that like I'm like a suicide hotline. They think that I'm a rehab, and they're looking for a particular kind of care. And I'm always fully transparent. I always tell them, I say, hey, listen, I'm a guy who got sober. I wrote a book. I'm not a doctor. I am not a facility. I don't have, the resources that, given that, if I can't help, I will. But it's when you send off your daughter and you're thinking you have a lot of faith that they're going to kind of maybe hold her hand through this thing a little bit more. And then it's so hard for you to gauge. Anybody is very hard to gauge what you're going to get because there's so many different layers or levels of care, like you mentioned.
Yeah, I can remember. I can remember flying down there with her, stopping in Target, getting her all the necessities, and the first thing they did was drug test her, and she had a roommate. It seemed like all good. I didn't realize that, it was my first time in the rodeo. I didn't know what was going on. That she needed more of a inpatient. It was too much freedom there. And that's one of the reasons I became a coach was I thought I was going to be a coach for parents and spouses because I was that guy. I can't tell you everything to do, but I can tell you a lot of the mistakes I made. And maybe through my mistakes, you'll know something better. I can educate you. And that's what I was hoping for. And I thought I'd maybe coach Wall Street guys that are coming in with some sort of addiction issues and like, hey, you're one of us. Can you talk to
Right.
So that's where that story started going.
Well, that makes sense.
But my daughter,
you want to help people. You want to help people that you're familiar with their pain. That's what you and that's an honorable thing. But obviously the coaching came much later. But at this point, so your daughter is in Florida. She was here for 7 years. Were you in contact during that whole 7 years?
I was I was down there all the time. My mom lived there, and I was from Florida all the time. Family days, separate weekends, all kinds of stuff. Always there. And she would come out. She'd be okay. Have to go back in. And then I learned the ugly side of the industry of like patient brokering and people trying to get people into different rehabs for the wrong reasons. And I had a Marchman act my daughter at one time. which is like, like a Baker Act in some states. You take their rights away and get her into treatment.
Right.
But I got her into a really good place at that time. And it was the first place that didn't care about insurance. The husband and wife that owned it said her benefits have been over for a while. She can stay as long as she wants to be here. So she stayed. She got clean. They put her to school to work in the field. She became a behavioral tech. And she was clean quite a lot of years down there.
Wow. Oh, wow. That's amazing. So she went to school. She made use of the obviously those people running that place are like angels, right? So they take
they're unbelievable.
Right. So she gets obviously some schooling under her belt, and then she starts as a tech. Well, it sounds like she's doing pretty good.
She was doing well. She decided that she wanted to move back to Jersey, so she moved into my home. And it was going pretty well. And at that point, I had asked to become like a leader of a Christian 12-step program. And they brought in this extensive training, not the guy in charge, but one of his leaders. And we're getting trained and learning stuff and excellent training. But I didn't think it was for me. And I called my daughter and I said, Dana, I said, I don't think this is for me. Because I was in denial a lot about my addictions. I thought it was all casual use. The more I went through my story, the more I realized I was full-blown addict at one point. But I said, Dana, this is not for me. And she's like, Daddy, you got to stay. She goes, someone like me is going to walk in the door and you're going to have to talk to them. You've been through every wall with me. Someone like my mom's going to come in the door and you're going to know how to deal with them just from all your life experiences. You got to stay. Marched back in the next night for the training, didn't leave. The guy running it, he had to leave a couple of months down the road, maybe a year down the road. A woman took over. Then COVID hit. And then in God's sense of humor, I had a choice of either to take it over myself or to let it close. And we had 30 people coming on Thursday night, men and women. I was like, I can't let this die. I can't let it close. And we kept it open. We haven't missed a Thursday night in probably 5 years.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So your daughter obviously had an insight as to like a superpower of yours, right? Like is to connect with people, and she knows exactly who, maybe not exactly who, but she has an idea of the type of people that you are uniquely able to help, right?
Yeah.
So that kept you going. And that's pretty awesome, man. And 30 people is a lot of people. Like that's a lot of souls that are like waiting for Thursday to come and sit down in front of you, right? So, man, that's an amazing. There's 5 years.
Yeah, we haven't missed a night. So during this time, I'm like, well, what more can I do? And I decided to go to school to become the recovery coach. My daughter used to make fun of me. She goes, oh, Daddy, you want to help everybody. You're going to do that. And I really was thinking about her story, her journey. Like, how can I help the next person like her? And I would just finish with school, and she had a setback. She was working as a behavioral tech in New Jersey, taking women to court dates, getting their children back. She was great at getting women into facilities that had no insurance. She'd work the phones. She knew how to do all that stuff. And she came to me and she said she's been using. And
man.
I was like, wow, I was blown away. And I blame it all on she had no accountability. She had no AA meeting. She had no support. She thought she was Superwoman. I am clean. I got this 5+ years, 7 years. I can do this all on my own. And I'm telling you, when the tough times come, and tough times do come for everyone, she didn't have a good way of handling it. And then she went out and used. Yeah. And I told her she couldn't live in my house at that point. It's very hard to do, but I had done it before. And she went away for treatment for a little while.
Huge.
And
Where
30
at?
days.
Where did she go? Did she go back down to Florida, or was she?
No, she stayed in Jersey. She went to a brand name place, and then I told her she had to go live in a woman's sort of like a halfway house. It was a little more than that when she came out of the program, and then COVID hit full blown, and nobody knew what to do.
Right.
It's like February of 20, March of 20, and the place called me and they said, "We have too many women here. We don't know what to do. We got to start quarantining. We want Dana to go home." And I'm like, really? I was like, I got nervous about it because my house that she was living in, I was only there on weekends. I had just gotten remarried and living half in Brooklyn, half in Jersey. And I was just nervous about it. And I said to the woman, "Well, what do you think about Dana?" She goes, "Dana runs all our groups." I'm like, wow. She goes, "Dana doesn't miss a meeting. And she really facilitates all our programs here because she had all that knowledge and, she was good at it." She says, "If anybody can go home, it's Dana." I'm like, okay. So I called Dana. She's like, "Yeah, me and my girlfriend are going to get a hotel. We're going to quarantine from each other for 30 days. We're going to make a dinner there. They have a kitchen." I was more worried about the cleanliness. I'm like, "You got cleaning supplies? It's COVID."
Right.
That's all I'm thinking about. Oh, she starts showing me pictures of the cleaning supplies. She's telling me my mom's taking too much of her prescription medication. I'm having a conversation with her. And if she doesn't clean up her act, I'm not talking to her no more. And this is Saturday morning we're talking. Saturday night, she goes through with her plan. And Sunday morning is Palm Sunday in 2020. Her girlfriend calls me and tells me that she found Dana in the bathroom and Dana died.
Yeah, man.
So Dana died from fentanyl. I can't call it an overdose. I refuse to.
Right.
To me, it's fentanyl poisoning. Because people really need to smarten up. Every street drug is laced with fentanyl. Even people who are buying weed on the streets, they get sprinkled with fentanyl just so that they can get a deeper high, and then they go back to buy from the same guy. And, I heard it said recently that any addiction is really gambling. Because the guy was talking about, I go to this meeting in this town, I go to AA, NA, GA, but they're all gambling because anytime you buy a drug on the street, you're gambling with your life. If porn or sex addiction is your thing and you're just doing it not smart or unprotected, you're gambling with your life. So you're just messing with your life every way. It's a gamble.
I see what you're saying, and I agree. I agree that it's like, I mean, it was that way before the fentanyl, but now it's like, it's not a joke. It's, and I was astonished to learn that they're putting it on cannabis. They're putting it on weed. I don't even, I personally I don't understand it, but there's a reason why, clearly, because they're doing it. Like it's all over the place, and it takes such a tiny amount to make that happen. That's why when I understand that. Well, I mean, I think I understand that what you're saying is like it's not an overdose because it could take the smallest, tiniest amount, and then and you're done. Yeah. That's just very sad, and I'm really sorry that happened the way that it did. It's tough, man. So
now what do I do with it? I have a choice. Do I go around, people think I'm fine, I'm strong, I'm this and that. I go around crushed. I'd be lying to say I don't. But I'm going to make the most out of it that I can. I'm going to make the best thing possible, helping the next person like my daughter, and maybe save a life. I don't know. I'm not that special that I think I can save a life, but maybe I can educate somebody. Maybe I could just spark something in somebody and say, "Oh, wow, he's right," and that's all I'm trying to do.
Well, I believe wholeheartedly that you have every bit that a person needs to do exactly what you set out to do, right? And it's not necessarily that every person that helps another person has to go through a tragedy like you have, losing a daughter to substances. It's not a requirement. However, I think for me, I would always know when I was speaking to somebody who understood the pain or the depth of the darkness, or that they were familiar with it. Not specifically, because everybody's story is different, and that's of course the truth. But like the using your pain, which is what I believe you're doing, is that you're using your pain in the best way possible, and you're using it as a bridge to people to gain a connection and then help, and your heart's in the right place. And I'd like to say that your daughter probably doesn't want anything more from you than that.
Yeah.
And so you're out here, you're talking to me, you're out here talking to all these other people. Are you still running groups?
I run a group still every Thursday night. That's a constant. Yep.
Right.
And
I mean, is it the same place, or is it's the same group?
It's the same group. It's in a church in Brooklyn, and we haven't stopped. Yeah.
Yeah. Man. All right. So you're doing that. I mean, what else? So what does your life look like now? I mean.
Okay. So I've been coaching.
Darkness, right? Yeah.
So I've been coaching guys for about 3 years through word of mouth. And then in December of last year, I decided I'm going to launch a website. I had put a name to it, Ground Zero Recovery Coaching. And I got my website out there, and I'm coaching like 5 guys right now. I'm actually still on Wall Street for about another year. I'm going to walk away in about a year. And I'm also doing substance use awareness training in like Wall Street offices, in churches, schools, organizations. I'll go in there and just give them the substance awareness and breaking the stigma. So many places, especially in the workplace, guys are using, they're afraid to come forward. Why they're afraid? They think they're going to get fired, they're going to get talked about, and they really can't get fired for that reason. They get fired for all the dumb things, the stupidness that goes along with it, the showing up late, they're not coming to work. So I'm trying to, be educating people out there with that.
Well, are you, now I don't know too much about it. But I know that, I see it in the pharmacies, Narcan. Are you educating people about like the Narcan?
I give a demonstration when people want me to on how to properly administer it.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I carry it in my backpack all the time.
Nice.
Because just because you have Narcan doesn't mean you're going to be able to know how to use it.
True. Because I have no idea. I don't even
people
know,
get kind of it's like a nasal spray most of the time.
Oh,
and
okay.
When it gets administered, there's a good chance that person is going to get quite violent. Wow. So, yeah.
That's a wild. Does it just like? Is it like adrenaline? Is it like?
Yes, it's similar to. They get like a rush. And they pop up, and you better have them on their side so they really can't like swing at you or something like that when they get administered.
Okay, yeah. Like I do know that it's a thing. I just personally I haven't encountered it personally. So, but I just know that it's all over the place, and I think it's a kind of a cool thing that it is offered, despite it being a horrible thing that it has to be offered. I mean, it
right.
It sucks that this is that this is what it's come to, but it's the reality. So
it's real,
yourself.
Yeah. Unfortunately, people are dying all over the place. The United States lost 100,000 people, to opioids every year since 2020.
Yeah,
numbers don't lie.
Yeah, I was addicted to opioids. It kind of was back in like 2010, 2012, like when they're handing out pills like candy, and not that was a good scenario. However, there was a very low chance that I was getting fentanyl put on my prescription pills, right? So it's like It's like a bad situation has gotten worse, because now it's like, okay, well, we were getting all these opioids from the doctors, which was horrible because they were prescribing them to everyone, creating addicts all the time. But now everybody's back to the streets, and the streets are, doing what the streets does, right? Like they're padding bags with this, murderous chemical, man. It's a very cool thing, though, that you're out there teaching people how to administer it. And I mean, hell, I've already learned something from you. Like, if I were to ever like be in a scenario like that, I would at least know enough. Like, okay, it's an inhalant, and there's a good chance like these people are going to have a serious jolt of energy, and what may come from that, And so, have you administered it to somebody? And like, have you been in that scenario?
I've been part of me and somebody else administering it, yeah. And also the thing with the fentanyl, a lot of times one shot of Narcan doesn't even work, that you have to hit them twice with it, like a second. It wasn't originally made for fentanyl.
Right. And that's so very interesting that's – but, man, you got like boots to ground these days, educating people about substance abuse, running a program, and you're on Wall Street. It's a wild combination. Let me ask you this: I know you said originally you thought you would be dealing with some of these Wall Street guys, but I mean, it's my perception. Maybe it might be quite off, but when I think about Wall Street guys, I think about big egos. Have you been confronted, like, as a Wall Street guy, ever come to you and told you, like, hey, man, I could use some help?
I find with the Wall Street guys, the other side of it, I don't need to go away for treatment. I'm okay.
Right.
So 2 guys from Wall Street that I started coaching, they didn't think they could. First of all, they didn't want to leave their job. They thought they were fine. And I really knew that at some point in my coaching with them, I really had to talk to them about going away. It's not about me saying, well, I can get 10 more sessions out of the guy, I can bill him. It's more about, after 3 sessions, this guy really needs to go to a treatment center and get himself straightened out. And then maybe come back and I can work with them. But he needs more than me. He probably needs more than the therapist. But they don't see it that way. They got the blinders on, and I'm okay. And and there are different treatment has changed over the years. There are places where guys can have their laptop and their phone and conduct business, where years ago that was like unheard of. And there's a place for everybody if they look hard enough, and it's not only about the money too. I also coach guys. That's in a program called Teen Challenge. I don't know if you heard of Teen Challenge. So people can go to Teen Challenge for free.
Teen or team?
Teen, like a teenager.
Are you saying team or teen?
Teen, like a teenager. It's now called Adult and Teen Challenge because they don't only take teens. But it's a faith-based program. You can go for like 10 months and not pay a dime. And
wow.
Yeah. So I've been working with one in Brooklyn where when the guys come out, if they need some coaching, I'll do it on the house until they're ready to go to work and stuff like that.
And so, man, I got to say, like, a couple of things, at least with me and my journey, you had mentioned the Baker Act or the Marchman's Act. I think they're rather synonymous. For people that don't know what that is, I've explained it on this show before, but like you're not arrested, but you're detained for 72 hours because you've been deemed to be a threat to yourself or others. And so I was Baker Acted. I honestly don't know the real number. I keep saying that I'm going to figure that out, but it's like between maybe 12 and 15 times. And so I would get out of these damn things, and I would that program you just mentioned, 10 months, like not a dime, and it's a faith-based program. Like I get this like little like envious spark inside of me because when I was coming out of these Baker Acts, man, I'd be begging. Like, don't just kick me out. Don't just boot me out, man, because I got nowhere to go. I'll be back here in 2 weeks. I would tell them that. And it was so hard to find resources, man, which, that's why, honestly, you're an angel just out there. Like I said, boots to ground. You're out there just, educating, directing people in the right direction, like you've got somebody from Wall Street, they're paying you. And it's not about the paying you. It's like, hey man, check it out. I don't have the oomph for you, brother. You need something more serious, and you need to go away, and you need to be all in. And that, man, like I said, it's like you're an angel out there, just doing the right thing and looking out for people, and that's such an honorable thing. I really, it's very cool. And I didn't know, like, when I think about this guy on Wall Street, in my mind, like I said, egotistical kind of like hot shot, and then that could be it could be a very ignorant statement. I understand, because I'm very influenced by movies and such. But I was that guy. I was full of this big ass ego. I thought I would always say, I have it. I got this. And like myself, like we both know that, like, you gotta let that go, man, or you're never gonna get any traction. You're never gonna get any traction in sobriety. With that mentality, you've got to really let it go. Do you? You haven't really hit on it too much, but, like, are you strictly an AA guy, or what kind of?
Oh, no. I used to think that way, and then the more education I got, the more I learned. There's so many roads to recovery. I seen guys go away to treatment centers that they're all about sports. I mean, extreme sports, kayaking, skiing, and they're getting well. I've coached guys in the gym a little older than me that I'm doing a session while we're training. I'm not just an AA guy. No, I think and I believe AA works for a lot of people. That structure, some people need to go every day, and that structure works for them. But it's not for everybody. And, but accountability, I think, is for everybody. That you need to have, like, a phone list of people, whether it's coming from AA, NA, or somewhere else. You need people that you can call and aren't going to be a candy store and sugarcoat everything and tell you got a problem. Something's going on. Oh, you're not right? Or that you're not afraid to share your stuff with. Yeah, I'm not feeling right. I think I'm going to use. You want to get a cup of coffee now? Something,
Yeah.
I think isolation kills.
100%. I agree with you, man. I agree with you. And it's, the AA, I'm not an AA guy. I didn't really, that wasn't my path. But the elements are undisputable as far as, like, they're effective for a lot of people. Not all the people, but for a lot of people. It's probably got, more success stories than anything else, but it's not the perfect fit for everyone, man. And that's
you like when you hear that thing, like, in the beginning, 90 meetings in 90 days, some people really can't chew on that. But if you think about the concept, every day you're getting some recovery, you're sitting with like-minded people, and you're hearing the stories, and it could be a good detainment, that may work.
Yeah. And I love the way you said it. It's a lot for somebody to chew, because I say this all the time. It's not about what you should do. Like, if I tell you what you should do, it's not about that. It's about what you will do. Right. So, and that even goes to, like, kind of chomping down the time. Like, if you say, I'm going to be sober for a year, and you can't make it an hour, you're going to fail. Like, because it's just gone too big, And so,
I'm going to give you an example. A week or two ago, I said to myself, all right, no pizza, pasta, and bread for a month. Okay. And I know I can do it. And the next day I said, why didn't I just say a week? And I'm like, because a week come around so fast, but the month, I'm thinking no pizza. I'm living in Brooklyn. We have the best pizza in the world. And I'm like, no pizza for a month, And
it's
too much,
right.
too long.
Exactly. So that's like, when you tell somebody right off the rip, you say, 90 meetings in 90 days, and it's just like, boom, it hits them, and it's heavy, and it's not.
I can't do that. I can't do that is the first thing they say.
Right. And then, so I think it's important getting that balance, between, it has to be appropriate for what you can handle, not what you should handle. And for me, like, I tell people all the time, like, I had to shrink what I could do. I knew what I was supposed to do, not drink a damn liter of vodka a day. that's what I should be doing. But I had to shrink it down to 15 minutes. Like, I'm not going to pick up the bottle for 15 minutes. Right. And I failed at that. I failed at that. Like, I couldn't even tell you how many times. I said, I'm not doing it. And
they say one day at a time, right? That's like the mantra, one day at a time. Sometimes it's got to be, like you said, 10 or 15 minutes. I got past from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock, and let's see what the rest of the day brings. And,
Exactly, yeah. It's the name of the game. You got to make it doable.
Even like a prayer that, like, everybody knows, like, give us this day our daily bread. It says daily bread. It don't say you need enough bread for the week. It's just enough for that day. Tomorrow's going to have enough troubles. Worry about today.
Nice. Yeah, that is the truth, my friend. I love it. So Dave, tell everybody what's going on in the near future. Let us know, like, how to get in touch with you. Where's the best place to start for somebody?
Easiest place to reach me is my website, groundzerorecoverycoaching.com.
Right.
Very easy to get me on there. From there you could link to my email, call me. I pretty much always answer the phone. It'll talk about. I was going to be starting a free group recovery coaching once a month session at the end of September, and that'll be on my website. How you can sign up for that. It'll be on Zoom. And substance abuse in the workplace. Let me come and train your office. Let me speak to your HR. Let me let them know what they don't know. I spoke to an HR person about EAP, Employee Assistance Program. And she was the head of HR in the company. She goes, I don't know what that is. And I was like, shocked. I said, well, what happens if somebody has a problem in your company? This was a Wall Street firm. She goes, oh, we very rarely deal with that. I would just refer them to the insurance company. I'm like, man, you need some training. Somebody's got to wake up here because, people are dying.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I got to give I went on your website and you got your phone number right on there, man. And I'm like that too. My wife can't stand it that my phone number is like all over the place. But I feel like that's a marker of somebody that's taking it serious. Like, hey, call me. Sometimes people call me. They're like, is this you? It's me. I'm in the car. I'm on my way to the store. Like, yeah, well, what can I do for you? And then it's like, I love that. It's
I had a guy call me last Saturday night. I was on vacation, out to dinner. I get this email. It's like, can you call me? So I email him back right away. I says, do you want me to call you now or tomorrow at lunchtime? Now, please. We had just put the food order in, and I'm not patting myself on the back at all. I went outside. I gave the guy 10 minutes in the conversation. He's, wow, that was so good. I feel so much better. Can we talk tomorrow? And we started a relationship that way. But just that 10 minutes of like, hey, you're okay. He was okay, and he was in a pretty good place, I think. And
yeah. Hey, listen, man. Talk about nobility. I love it, man. I love it. And I'm gonna have the link for your site and everything lined up,
cool.
So people can find you the best places possible. But yeah, guys, for now, it's been another episode of The Next Fix with my good friend here, Dave Mahler. Hey, man, keep up the good work, man.
Thank you.
So much
You
for
too.
being on.